Good evening, everyone. Most of us have received the news this morning that the French court seizes 3 Nigerian presidential jets. Now, before we go into the details why the presidential jets were seized and why Nigerian government, might not be able to recover these presidential jets unless an urgent action is being taken to repay the debts that led them to seize these presidential jets. By the way, this is an international disgrace. I mean international disgrace that 3 presidential jets of a sovereign country were seized. Oh God. Now, about 2 months ago, we were shouting that Tinubu should not go and buy, presidential jets. And they did not listen to the masses. He went and he buy the presidential jet. They bought it. They bought it with a huge sum of money that the presidential jet, as we know, supposed not to cost at that amount. And this presidential jet that Tinubu bought is part of the presidential jet that was seized. Yeah, it's part of the presidential jet that was seized. So, and 2 was seized at, French airports. And 1 was seized in Switzerland. That is the one they bought newly that they have not delivered. Now, what really happened? Before we go into this Shara reporters, details, analysis of what really transpired, let's listen to what Arise News said.
Nigerians have been reacting to a Premium Times report alleging that the French court has authorized the seizure of 3 presidential jets linked to the federal government of Nigeria. 2 of the jets are said to be part of the Nigerian presidential air fleet, which were reported to be put up for sale, while the third is an Airbus 330, which was purchased by Nigeria but yet to be delivered. Well, according to the report, the presidential jets were reportedly seized after an application by a Chinese company whose export processing zone management contract was revoked by the Ogun State government in 2016. A court had awarded about $74.5 million in compensation. I mean, which kind wahala is this? A lot of people have reacted on social media. Let me just take this from Okpa, who wrote, well, moving forward, if a state must go into an agreement, contract with a foreign partner, it must be sanctioned by the federal government or the OAGF, that's the Attorney General of the Federation. If the agreement must be cancelled, it must be with the explicit consent of the federal government and the OAGF. Which kind wahala be this? That was the tweet that I found. But the federal government at this point is having to, pay for what the state government has, accrued. But we need to hear from the Ogun State government as to the reason why that, Chinese contract was revoked. We also need to hear from the federal government as to what was supposed to have been done in order to avert this sort of embarrassment for Nigeria, according to the news that is being bandied around now.
Yeah, this is an embarrassing story, and I have to give context that this happened in 2016, so it's not the current administration in Ogun State that's responsible for this. However, governance is a continuum. So whether or not it was in 2016, and this is why we keep emphasizing on leadership, because a decision made by a particular administration could have far-reaching effects even down the line, years and years afterwards, and this is what we've seen here. The award of over $70 million as a result of that failed transaction was actually done by an independent arbitrary court, and this was done that they should pay. They were owing because of the way their transaction wasn't honored, and the fact that an agreement wasn't honored according to the contract that had been agreed by both parties. Years down the line, sometimes we feel that when it comes to judgment and courts, the way we do it anyhow in Nigeria, whereby you can choose to honor or dishonor a particular judgment, you can do it in international bodies. It's not the same anywhere. And so now these 3 aircraft are being held as almost collateral, and the judgment is that until Ogun State honors and pays the bailiff to the tune of about $76 million, they won't release the aircraft. And now the federal government is suffering from a decision and bad administration, bad judgment by a particular administration. This is not the only thing. Remember the P&ID case? We've had a number of cases like this where we almost bury our heads in the sand and then we have to pay years and years later for it. I can't imagine the interest that's accrued on this over the years, and now we are having to pay. Where is the money to pay for it, OG? This aircraft, the third one you mentioned, hasn't even been delivered. The other 2 went for maintenance. The third aircraft, which Nigeria is reportedly have paid over $100 million, is also being held to ransom as a result of this bad this contract that went so. So like you mentioned, we have to hear from the Ogun State government as to why they didn't, what happened. So we get the true picture of things, but to be honest, the court had ruled. So the court had the opportunity to hear both sides of the story and ruled in favor of Zhangzhun, which is a Chinese company. So maybe let's start paying up the debts. That's just the penalty.
So they've kidnapped
$4.5 million. They've
Holding them ransom.
Yes, they're holding it. They're holding it. Three.
Yes,
just like that, Rufai.
Is it the president when they want to go and say?
Well, we don't know. I believe one of them that they said that has not yet been delivered is probably the one in contention. One of them. So they said jet, not yours.
So what we bought it? They've kidnapped.
All right, $74.5 million is what they're asking. Well,
now, anytime I'm shouting that Nigerian government always fail to, to deliver their promises, like if they go to court, for example, maybe court will ask them, oh, you are guilty, you have to pay so and so. They don't obey court order. They think that everything is just normal. So when they engage with international partners, when they start doing international business, these people, everything they are doing will backfire. Even though this Tinubu, they are borrowing and so on and so forth, they will not be able to keep the agreement because these people, they are serious court violators. They don't obey court orders, but nemesis are catching up with them. They thought that maybe Nigeria is like other countries. That is what they believe, that Nigeria is like other countries, that the government can do whatever they like. Now, let's see what is going on in Shara Reporter's details analysis of this. It says French court seizes 3 Nigerian presidential jets. The article was written today, 15th day of August 2024. And it goes like this. Chinese company Zhongshan has successfully petitioned for the seizure of 3 Nigerian presidential jets. The company export processing zone management contract was terminated by Ogun State government in 2016. The seized jets, which are part of the Nigerian presidential air fleet, are a Dassault Falcon 7X at the Bourget Airport in Paris, a Boeing 737 and an undelivered Airbus 330 at Basel Morehouse Airport in Switzerland, which were purchased by Nigeria but not yet delivered. So let me correct this. The 2 airplanes that was bought by Nigeria in Switzerland that has not been delivered, they are part of the presidential jet that was seized, and one at the France airport. So these are the 3 presidential jets that were seized. Now let's continue. Say, according to Premium Time, the seizure is a result of the contractual dispute between Zhongshan and the Ogun State government. A French court authorized the seizure of the 3 presidential jets due to the ongoing dispute between Zhongshan, a Chinese company, and the Ogun State government. The seizure is a result of the government's failure to honor a 74.5 million award granted to Zhongshan by an independent arbitral tribunal chaired by the former president of the UK Supreme Court. Now, this money, it is like a fine that was given to Ogun State. You understand? It was a fine given to Ogun State by the UK court. Now they said it doesn't matter. Ogun State ended the agreement between the company and the Ogun State. Maybe the company, they came to Nigeria. Ogun State is an industrial area, all those things. So these people took them to court in UK and they won them, and they asked Ogun State to pay them $74.5 million US and they refused. And these people learned that, okay, what do we do? Okay, Nigerians, presidential jets, 3 of them are in abroad. Nigeria is a puppet nation. The presidential jet don't stay in their country. So what these people do is to petition the French court and ask them to seize the 3 presidential jets, and the court granted their wish. The 2 jets that Tinubu bought newly has been seized. What a country. So despite the federal government's effort to resolve the issue amicably, the Ogun State government has yet to comply with the award. The court order restricts the movement, sale, or purchase of the jets until Zhongshan received the awarded amount, leaving the Nigerian government facing consequences for the action of its subnational entity. Bailiffs have already served papers for each aircraft, and the Nigerian government has yet to comment on the situation. This confiscation follows the recent seizure of Nigerian-owned property in Liverpool, England by a UK court in connection with the same dispute. Zhongshan secured charging order against properties at 15 Eggborough Hall Road and Beach Lodge 49 Cardestone Road, Liverpool, valued over 1.3 and 1.7 million pounds respectively. Now, let me stop here. You see, all these loans that the Nigerian government are borrowing, both the states, if they do not honor it, it's going to backfire. And this and now, maybe what is going to happen, federal government could borrow money and pay it for Ogun State, and they are going to seize their revenues. They will start taking it from their FAC, federal allocations. And who is going to suffer it? The residents. So many courts in Nigeria has also, sanctioned the federal government or fined them in the dispute between federal government and Nnamdi Kanu, but they have not paid as well. I hope one day international court will not, maybe Tinubu will travel to anywhere and they will just petition, they will seize his presidential jet. He can't fly back again. We are living in a crazy world. Nigeria should wake up.